Haven't seen a body like that since I solved the case of the murdered girl with the big tits. G'day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first episode of Thanks But No Thanks with your host, Rooted Junk in Hollywood. Hollywood, how are you today?
Exceptional. Yeah, can't wait.
So, if you're new to the show, if you haven't heard the pilot, this is the new format that we're going with. First episode, if you don't know what the show is about, is me and my dad, Hollywood. There's a generational gap there of about 30-something years. I'm going to give him movies and albums that I know he particularly wouldn't listen to or would absolutely hate, and he does the same for me. We review them, we have a chat about them, we break them down, we hang shit on it, and then we get a kind of a review after it if it's a thanks or if it's a thanks but no thanks. Let's get straight into it, Dad. The movies that we gave to each other for the first episode this week, I gave you Freddy Got Fingered, and the album I gave you was Kanye West's Yeezus. Can we start what you thought about Freddy Got Fingered? And before you do, I gave this movie to you with only watching the first 20 minutes of the movie myself, and then I thought, you know what, if I'm going to make him watch it, I'll go and watch it myself. I'm kind of ashamed I gave you this movie now, because I was even like through it going, oh shit. So please, give me your thoughts on Freddy Got Fingered.
You know, I've had a long-held opinion of you, being you're my son. That changed 20 minutes into this movie. Honestly, it was possibly not the worst movie I've ever seen, but then I'm comparing it to Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and a few of the other literary greats. But Rip Torn, who played the father, all I can say is I suspect he needed the money really badly to do this movie. And after it, he should have fired his agent, and he's probably turning in his grave now.
The movie was critically panned by every critic ever, and I just don't understand watching the movie, like halfway through it, them going, why are we making this? Why?
Rip Torn looked like that from the first scene. As I said, he must have got a lot of money for it, because you wouldn't have done this. And same with Julie Haggerty. I mean, she was in, Flying High and a few of the others, which, she wasn't great, but geez, I tell you what, really sunk low to get into this. I mean, look, it must be a record that in only 8 minutes I was already disgusted. I mean, horse penis, really? Honestly.
I just don't understand what goes through Tom Green's mind, that he's like,
obviously
what?
Nothing.
You know, it'd be great for a movie, like if I'm just driving and then just stop and hold a horse penis.
Yeah. There's sort of no rhyme or reason. I mean, I don't know.
I want to be a farmer, Daddy. I want to be a farmer.
Yeah, I don't know what part of the story that it was critical to, but anyway, I mean, I thought Drew Barrymore said it all when she called him a skinny loser. That was perfect.
I would have loved to be in a fly on the wall when they're doing the round table reading, and he goes, "Oh, and this is the part where I get out of my car and grab a horse dick and wave it."
Yeah, you can imagine the look on the other writers or the other actors going, "Yeah, okay." As long as we don't have to do it, that's fair enough,
Oh shit! So, all right, moving forward.
Well, going into it, I mean, he used a fake gun earlier, and I just wish to God it was real and he'd shot himself, because it would have saved 90 minutes of my life. It really would have. I mean, the music wasn't bad. I mean, they had the New Seekers, Sammy Davis Jr. There was Green Day in there, but Overall, that was the only decent thing in the movie. Oh, sorry, his girlfriend was hot. She wasn't bad.
She's the I didn't notice this, but she's the chick from Super Troopers. She's the girl copper from Super Troopers.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
well,
even her acting in this movie was almost like, I'm just here for a paycheck. I'm not here to win an award. I'm just here to pay it.
Oh, well, she did all right because she didn't have to do too much. She just sat in a chair all the time and she got a paycheck. How good was that?
That was pretty easy. I mean, some of the scenes, the whole skateboard stack where he breaks his leg, and then
I didn't realise he was a skateboarder. I mean, that's how much I know about Tom Green. I mean, I didn't realise he could skateboard like that. But his mate, who's been in a few movies, and I can't remember his name, but he's been in a few movies, and he usually plays the same sort of a guy. Somebody's mate,
friend.
Yeah, friend, whatever. Yeah, but when he had the stack and broke his leg, I mean, I didn't think it could get much weirder than him
licking the marrow out of his compound while his daddy's behind there going, "What the fuck you doing?" Like,
I mean, honestly, again, around the reading table. Oh yes, and when he breaks his leg, I'll lick the marrow out of the bone. It's wonder they didn't lock him up before the movie was made.
Dude, some of the things. It's like some of the things he does aren't even like they didn't have to be in the movie.
No,
it's almost like he's just decided at the last minute. Oh, you know what? Make this scene really great if I do this. Like,
do you know what it looked like? It looked like he was trying to get out of a contract at a studio somewhere, and he thought, well, if I make something that's just absolutely shocking, I can get out of my contract. They'll cancel it, and I can go and do something else. That's just what it looked like.
Maybe a bit of the producers going on where, get all in these investors, have an absolute bomb, and then you get to keep the money.
You get to keep the money. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm never going to look at childbirth the same way again.
Yeah, it's one way to make a baby. It's one way to make a baby wake up. Apparently it won 5 Razzies. Now, if you don't know what a Razzie is, think of the Academy Awards, but the Razzies are for the worst of the worst films. So if you win a Razzie, that's nothing. You're really bad if you win a Razzie. He turned up at the Razzie Awards to collect all 5 awards. So he was quite proud of the fact that it went so bad.
Well, so he should be. Let's face it. I mean, any award that thing got was a bonus.
So I want to know what studio producer or studio exec gets a script in front of him and goes, you know what? This would be amazing as a movie.
And look, I read some of the reviews, and some of the more mentally challenged people were calling him a genius for this movie.
You want my sausage, Daddy? Daddy, you want my sausage?
That poor kid.
I'm being creative, Dad.
That poor kid. I don't know what the significance of that was either. So.
A kid that just gets belted every scene he's in.
Yeah, exactly. But I went through it. I mean, when he got the money for the cartoons, and we'll say nothing about the Zebra Family of America. That is, I've seen some weird cartoons before, but that is just that was nearly as sick as the movie.
I just don't understand the whole ending of the film. And then even like it's a mockery and a parody of itself at the end, because if you read the signs...
Yeah, I did. It's when the fuck is this movie going to finish?
Yeah. They're holding signs up. When is this movie going to end? What's the point of this ending? Uh, uh, so,
Well, I wasn't sure of the significance of the helicopter. I mean, he's riding around in a helicopter, and I'm thinking, well,
it's just he just did it just to have a helicopter. I mean,
just
I
to
think
spend the money.
yeah, I think I've got $1 million, and then you see the construction, and then you're like, oh my god, he's going to build a new house, or he's going to get the house done. Like, he's actually going to, and he's like, that's all my money. No object. I've spent $1 million. This is going to be great.
Yeah, I didn't think it could get any weirder, and then Pakistan and the elephants came in. I mean, that did me. Then I my estimation of you went basement level for giving this damn thing for me.
Strap in, I've got more for you.
Oh yeah, don't worry. I've looked up a couple too. Don't worry. I think the premise is here. We give each other movies we don't like, but sometimes we don't even understand, and make it fun. To say, well, okay, critique that one.
You know what? I watched it like I because I was like, you know what? I made him watch it. I'll watch it myself, so I can actually talk to you about it. And then I was like watching it, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm making him watch this. Like it was a fucked movie.
Well, I still think the best line in the movie was, "I learned something, Dad. Not just how to whack off an elephant." That says it all about the movie, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it. So, your review, is it thanks? Or is it thanks but no thanks?
Hell no, thanks. Look, it was like tripping over and falling into a puddle of vomit. I felt like I had to have a shower after it.
Fair enough. Look, let's get to my movie. You gave me Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. I'm going to say this. I'm gonna give my review straight away. I'm going to say it's definite thanks.
Oh yeah,
this movie. I know it was just. It was everything I love.
Look, I gave that to you because it's what they call a film noir, but mate, it's one of my favourite movies all time. And I know it's not the way to do, but I just wanted to see what your take on it was.
That's not how it started out though. Like I'm just reading background of it, and they had a completely different movie in mind, and all they wanted to do. So Carl Reiner and Steve Martin, when writing the movie, had a completely different script, completely different movie in mind, and what they were trying to do is just for this movie was put a piece of 1930s footage into this movie they were going to make. When they did it, they liked it so much, they went, why don't we do a whole movie like this? And they went back and rewrote it. Now, the interesting thing that I read was Steve Martin had never really ever seen these kind of detective movies.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't watch any of them before the movie because he didn't want to have an assumption or act a certain way like any other detective would. And I think it's come off amazing. So 1982, it was made. Steve Martin as the main. I think his name is Rigby Reardon.
That's it.
You got Rachel Ward who plays the damsel in distress, if you almost want to call her that.
She's gorgeous.
Something I found out is Rachel Ward, who is absolutely gorgeous in the movie, is Brian Brown's wife.
Has been for many years.
Yeah, so I found that. I found that. Now, if the movie was brought out today, it'd probably be banned because of the sexual.
Yeah. She's sucking the bullets out.
Yeah. Oh well, and adjusting her breasts.
Yeah.
Because they're out of whack. Adjusting his willy because it was out of whack.
Mm-hmm.
If you heard, as you heard at the the start of the show. My favourite line in the whole movie was, I haven't seen a body like that since I solved the case of the murder with the girl with the big tits.
Yep.
That I was drinking at that stage and I spat it out because I laughed so hard how he delivers it. I I'll never hear the word cleaning woman the same way again.
Cleaning woman.
Cleaning woman! Cleaning woman!
No, as I said to you, it's a brilliant piece of a film. The way they married all the different 30s and 40s movies into it, and it was seamless. It was as if they were there. You would swear that he was talking to them and everything else. There was a couple of them that looked a bit strange, but yeah, it's good to hear your take on it.
I think one of the funniest things I saw was he comes out of a train station. He goes up to a taxi and he goes to the window of the taxi and he goes, I'll give you $10 if you can get to such and such as quick as possible. And the taxi just takes off on him. He looks at the camera and he kind of runs to the next taxi behind him and he goes, follow that cab. And he gets in and then he goes, and then the whole point, like how, detective movies where he talks as a narrator. And I did a pretty smart thing there, taking the only 2 cabs at the station, so this guy couldn't chase him, like trying to fob it off as a thing he's done.
It's something he's done on purpose, yeah.
Yeah. Some of the goofs I got from here, which is it's an amazing film. So the whole movie is in black and white. And literally, Steve, there's probably like 4 or 5 real cast members. Then the rest of the film is pretty much him talking to archive footage of different movies in the 1930s and 40s and 50s, and in like old detective movies. Which I did. I did my research, Dad. I know every person that was in that movie. But first, I want to talk about a few things that I had. So. While Steve Martin's character is at the bar in Carlotta, which is near the end, a clip is used of Charles Launton from The Bribe, which is from 1999, asking, you know who I could be? And Martin replies, the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Launton played the role
of the Hunchback
of Notre Dame in 1939. So that was a pretty funny throwback. So Steve Martin suggested using footage of William Hartnell, Red Skellington, Jerry Lewis, Jack Benny, Stan Laurel, and Oliver Hardy, but Carl Reiner refused because he felt it would be funnier if they used footage of actors who spent their careers mostly away from comedies.
Yeah.
Any comedians in the movie and wanted to like have that kind of serious feel, and it was brilliant. So. And there's another thing. So Steve Martin's character tells Lana Turner he left her sitting at a counter at Schwab's. Turner is rumored to have been discovered sitting at the counter
at Schwab's.
So, here you go. The number of credited old movies that we use for footage in this film was 18. But it's actually 19 if the one counts the unbilled Keeper of the Flame from 1942. The only footage from that film was the very start when the car goes off the ledge.
Yeah, where her father is supposedly dying. Yeah,
and I know you gave me this little bit of research to find out. So the performers who appear in the film are Edward Arnold, Ingrid Bergman, Humphrey Bogart, Wally Brown, James Cagney, William Conrad, Jeff Corey, Joan Crawford, Betty Davis, Brian Donlevy, Kirk Douglas, Ava Gardner, Cary Grant, Alan Ladd, Veronica Lake, Burt Lancaster, Charles Launton, Fred McMurray, Charles McGraw, John Milgen, Ray Millard, Edmund O'Brien, Vincent Price, Barbara Stanwyck, Lana Turner, and Norma Varden.
Well, you did mention Humphrey Bogart, didn't you?
Yes, Humphrey Bogart was
his detective mate, supposedly his partner.
Marlowe,
yeah.
Yeah. In the later, Steve Martin in the later Steve Martin movie, The Three Amigos, which is a classic. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Martin's character receives his first gunshot wound in his left arm, which is the same place Martin keeps getting shot in Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
In the exact same spot.
Same place every time he gets shot. And as I said, the name of his earlier case was The Case of the Murdered Girl with the Big Tits. Now, this is what I thought. I picked this up pretty quickly, and then I saw it again in a very backwards trivia of the internet. And as Rigby leaves an office later on in the movie, he is taken by three thugs, whom he refers to as the Three Stooges. In the confrontation with the thug boss, who is Kirk Douglas, he assaults one of the thugs in a slapstick style of the Three Stooges.
Mm.
It is brilliantly done. The movie has got so many like small Easter eggs, I guess. I don't know if you notice, every time Juliet sucks the bullet out of Rigby's arm, the bullet's always facing inside her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how the bullet would come out if she.
No.
It's always got the base shown on her teeth. Look, I honestly think the movie was done absolutely brilliantly. I loved every minute of it. I loved Steve Martin's take on a detective, and Carl Reiner. He passed away this year, did he not?
He did.
He
was on Twitter. He passed away a couple of months ago.
His last thing that he did was he remade a kind of a COVID. It was a COVID version, like an isolation version of The Princess Bride.
Mm-hmm.
And his last words were, "As you wish." He did the whole grandpa leaving thing, and he actually said it to his son, his son is playing the kid in. So if you haven't seen that, get that on that.
Well, his son's name is Rob Reiner, and here's a little bit of trivia for you. Rob Reiner used to play Meathead in All in the Family years ago.
Oh, there you go.
That's the son-in-law. So,
there you go.
So what do you think?
Oh, I loved it. It's a definite thanks. I'd watch it again, definitely. Loads of fun, funny, well done. I wish they could try and do that again. Like, even, try and do it with movies back in the 80s, 90s. Like, try and archive. Like, that'd be perfect. I reckon they'd be able to do it a lot better now. Yeah, brilliant.
But can you imagine the research they had to do to find the scenes that would match up to the movies? Although they probably wrote the scenes to match the movies.
Yeah, well, they probably looked at it and then took it. But there's 18 films there they took.
Yeah, exactly.
19 actually. So they did some research, and it just off a whim where they were trying to use one, and then went, you know what, we can do this. Let's make a whole movie like this. Let's make a film noir movie. But yeah, I have to say a big thank you very much. It was a brilliant movie to watch, and yeah, it's a definite thanks for that. And cool. Yeah. So let's get on the albums. Now, I gave you Kanye West's Yeezus. This is going to be very interesting, I reckon. So give it to me. Tell me how you feel about this one.
Look, there was a lot of synthesizers, drum machines, and everything else. It wasn't what I thought. I always thought Kanye was hip hop with a bit of rap. There's only one song that had a bit of rap in it. I got up to song 7, and there still wasn't any hip hop. So it was it just seemed like a mad rant most of the time.
I have to say, your thoughts on hip hop and what hip hop actually is very different now. And that's not a dig against you. Just what you have in your mind, and I know how you think. What you think hip hop is, it's mutated. Hip hop is a very wide range of kind of music now. So there's a lot of rock and rap have mixed, rock and hip hop, synth and rock, and hip hop is not what you thought back in the day what it is. It's different. And this is and I got to say, Kanye's probably one of the people that have pushed that forward.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm just old. I'm just, as you describe, I'm old and decrepit. So it probably isn't my type. But I mean, look, I look at it this way: that like even the first song, I mean, it wasn't bad. And here's a little bit of trivia for you: the beat of the first song, which is called "On Sight," and he collaborated with them on a couple of songs, is from Daft Punk. Now, Daft Punk, I don't mind their music. It's got a good beat to it. The second one, which was Black Skinhead.
That's my favourite song of the album, by the way. And if you were smart enough to know, and you might,
it's him dating. It was the crappy copped about dating Kim Kardashian.
But you would know it, and this is for people that live in Western Sydney and are football fans. It's the Wanderers theme song coming out. They use the music when they come out.
Yeah,
and a lot of sporting codes have across the world have used the music to Black Skinhead. But yeah, it's a thing of saying why can't I date Kim Kardashian kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean he was basically hating on everybody in this song, and he didn't care. He didn't care who he upset in this one. But that's just him. Sorry. The third one, I Am a God. Well, that's typical Kanye, isn't it?
Well, the album is called Jesus.
Yeah, he just thinks. Yeah, well, that's the way he said it. I mean, it came from a passage that he said in an interview one time. When he called, listen to the Jesus. The fourth one, New Slaves, best line in it, which, as I said, I pulled the line out of the movie you gave me. Well, the best line is this, and I'd rather be a dick than a swallower. It just sounds about right with him. It's a very very aggressive synthesizer in that. But as I said, I was starting to get used to the album by then.
How many times did you end up listening to it?
2 or 3, because I sat here and went through it, and I went through a couple of tracks and replayed some others just so I had some sort of idea. Look, it's not my type of music, as you would know, and that's why you gave it to me. But there was a couple of halfway decent things that I didn't mind with it. The only thing is, halfway through it, by about track 5, I got the distinct, and one of them was Hold My Liquor. I got the distinct impression that he's really, really got an obsession with pussy and everything else, because that's all he was mentioning. What he was going to do to it and everything else.
He's not the only one.
No, but there was a lot of auto tune, and then he really got into the bad taste in I'm In It. Talking about all I need sweet and sour. And that was referring to eating Asian, and I don't mean the food.
Before we say something we regret, what's
Yeah, I'm just referring to what it was, blood on the leaves. That took a passage from Nina Simone's song, and he blended it into the song. I mean, look, in the 8th, he raps and sings, and it was just all over the place to me. I couldn't sort of, I'd get used to, oh, yeah, that sounds all right, and then all of a sudden he just completely changed it halfway through the song. And and me, I like music of all types, but I just had a hard time listening to this, which you knew.
What's your review?
Look, I've listened to it, except for the last song, which sounds like a bit of a 60s record, except for the lyrics, of course. I'd have to say thanks, but no thanks. Look, I've listened to it. I listened to it a couple of times just to make sure I was hearing what I was hearing. But yeah, it's not one I'd listen to again. I mean, you got to remember this was nominated for only 2 Grammys, which Kanye was really disappointed with because he thought it was going to get 3 or 4. It was only nominated for 2 Grammys. It didn't win either of them. So because of that, he distanced himself for the record after that. He didn't want to know about it. Anybody wanted to interview him about the record, he didn't want to know because it didn't win. That was it. Move on.
Oh, there you go. Let's move on with my album. What can I say about my album? You've given me the band Mountain, their 1971 album, Nantucket Sleigh Ride. Now, let me set the mood. Okay? So every time I've listened to this, I felt the same way. I felt like I should be somewhere on a field, dressed as a hippie, smoking some sweet, sweet ganja, and just hazing out.
You got it. That's what they used to do.
All right, so this band sounds very, very much like Cream.
Well, it was around sort of the similar era. They were around when Cream started off and everything else.
So I'd call it kind of psychedelic garage music. Would you agree with that?
You're probably right.
Their first song, "Don't Look Around," it wasn't bad. It was very psychedelic. I didn't really get into it. Taunter, Semi's tune, it was more. It's a minute track. It's like it feels more like an interlude, like a filler to move into the next song, which is the title song, Nantucket Sleigh Ride, which that was a lot slower than I thought it was going to be, and it was 5 minutes that I wish I could get back. Unfortunately, it's lost forever. You Can't Get Away. Well, that's how I felt. The song "You Can't Get Away." That's how I felt listening to this album. Tired Angels. I was very tired by the time I got to the 5th song. Until the 6th. Number 6 was a lifesaver for me. And I looked at the name of the song, and I was like, very interesting. Then I listened to the song, and I'm like, I actually like this song. The Animal Trainer and the Toad. I mean, first, I want to know what kind of acid they dropped to bring up to get that name.
Anything they could get.
Amazing. I love it. And it's just about him being in a band. Number 7 is about his lady, how his lady knows every note he does. Oh, yeah. Traveling in the Dark. Sorry, go on. Were you going to comment on My Lady?
No. You got to remember these guys were in they'd come out of the 60s. They were in the 70s. So you were right. They're all hippies. If you ever see a film clip of them, they're all long hair. They're all hippies, and they all look like they're half out of it when they're playing, the instruments as it is. So there's going to be some strange. I mean, you look at a lot of the albums in that era, and some of the songs you'll look and go, well, what possessed them to name it this? But then you'll go on, and there'll be a great riff, or it'll be really musically brilliant. But when they were doing the album, they were probably as high as a kite.
Well, it got to number 8, and it started boring me again. Traveling in the Dark. Now, it felt like a whiny song, and he's just sitting there saying, how would you feel if your woman was with another man? I'd hate it. Any man would hate their woman being with another man. Fuck. And it's like, and then it's like 2 EMP. I want to know who this EMP is, because he has to listen to that song all the time. That the song is called Traveling in the Dark, 2 EMP. Whoever that is, I hope he got his woman sorted, because she's with another man, apparently. She's with another man. I wonder if he ever got back with his woman, or she went off with that man.
Chances are when they were recording, they're probably sitting in front of him while he's singing it.
She's probably with the other man in front of him.
In front of him. And he's going, oh, right, it's not about this.
What a future. And the last song, well, it's not the last song, but it is the last song. The Great Train Robbery. Not a bad song. It wasn't bad.
Look, I believe it or not, in the 70s, I used to listen to this album, and the Nantucket Sleigh came out, and they were.
I always wondered.
They were an alternative,
What was wrong with me growing up? I always wondered what was going on, why I'm like the way I am. Now I know.
See, me listening to Nantucket Sleigh brought you into Freddy Got Fingered.
He's listening to Mountain Nantucket Sleigh in some backwoods ganja den, sitting next to a guy called Gary, and it's affected me.
Well, in the 70s, what would I have been? I'd have been, I'd have been about 15, 16 or something when I was listening to this.
Well, there you go, prime age.
Yeah, I was
prime age.
16 when I was listening to that sort of thing. That and Led Zeppelin and Uriah Heep and a few of the other bands.
Well, the 10th song on the album is Traveling in the Dark Again, but live. So, I mean, whoever this EMP guy, they really wanted to drive the point home in this album. They're like, you know what? That's not enough. Let's put the live version of this song on there as well.
Oh, a lot of the times they did that because the record companies would say, well, look, this album has to go a certain amount of time. And if they run out of material, they just put a live version on it to bring the album up to the required time. They did it. A lot of bands did that.
I do thank you because you did answer a question for me. I always heard the song Mississippi Queen and never really knew who sung it. Now I know. Now, if you don't know what Mississippi Queen is, this is it. And that's all I can play for you.
Yep.
But yeah, Mississippi Queen.
Well, there you go, sir.
Now
you know who.
So, all in all, yeah, it's a thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, look.
I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. But it's not what I consider something I'm going to go and listen to and love.
No. No, it's something that you probably put on, sit down, go through a bottle of scotch and think, oh, it was great. What was I just listening to?
I'd probably have to have a bottle of scotch before I even put it on.
Yeah, possibly.
To get through it. I mean, it's not Def Leppard, it's not Led Zeppelin, it's not Deep Purple. It's different. And I must say I'm not, and I wasn't, and haven't been, and probably never will be a Jimi Hendrix fan.
No, I don't think I ever was either.
And that's the kind of music I'm associating it with.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And nothing against Jimmy. Jimmy's a legend. It's just not my kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know. Yeah, thanks, but no thanks. Well, anyway.
No problem.
Here's my favourite part of the show. Our next show's choices. You know what? I'm going to let you go first today, and you can tell me what you've given me. So let me get my pen out. Let me click my pen.
Yeah.
There we go. I got my little pad out. Shoot, my father. Shoot. Give me your worst with the movie.
The movie is Tootsie. Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman.
Tootsie. You'll love it.
I think I've seen it once, and that would have been maybe more than 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he dresses up as a woman, isn't it?
Good
job.
Could be.
Okay, Tootsie it is. And your album.
And this one will blow your mind. Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick.
Jethro Tull. Thick as a brick.
Yep.
Okay.
Now you're going to have to listen to this one really, really good because basically there's only one track on the whole album.
So it's just one long song.
It basically goes for the whole album.
Great. Here we go. All right. You ready?
Yeah, just going to get me pen out. Yeah, go on. Do your worst.
All right. Your movie is The Room.
The Room.
The Room. Enjoy that one.
It couldn't be any worse than the last one.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a different worse.
Okay then. I've just thought of a movie. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you to look at next time.
The Room, and you know what? There's a movie made about this movie.
All right.
With Seth Rogen and James Franco. But The Room, it's called The Room. And I hope you've got the right one. I will tell you which one it is off air. And the album, I'm going to give you an easy one because I feel sorry for Freddy Got Fingered and I feel sorry for The Room. So I'm going to give you an easy one. Your album is In Love and Death by The Used. In Love and Death by The Used. Well, that's our pick. So you've got The Room and In Love and Death by The Used. So that will be our next episode. You've given me Tootsie and Jethro Tull's Thick as a Brick. Ladies and gentlemen, to all our listeners, thank you very much for sticking around for Thanks But No Thanks. It's been another great, our first great episode with a lot better than the pilot one.
Yes.
More of a discussion this time.
Yes,
More of a discussion.
More of a discussion, less of Bill Collins.
That's it. Well, from me, Rudy, I'll see you next time. Hllywood, you want to say goodbye?
From Hollywood, stay lofty, folks.
Stay lofty. If you haven't been to the page, go and like us at Thanks But No Thanks on Facebook. Also go join the group page, which is Generation Random Network. We are a Generation Random Network show. Also, you go check out my other shows, which is Generation Random and Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is a very not safe for work. So if you are easily offended or don't like certain things said, I wouldn't listen to that one. But if you broad-minded, open, not a sook, go give it a listen. But until then, we'll see you later. Thanks. Bye.
Ciao.
Where the fuck you get off talking to people about me behind my back? What people would you think I wasn't gonna find out?
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.